The war on drugs. It sounds so righteous, doesn't it? A noble fight against a terrible foe. For over half a century this war has been waged. Governments poured billions, then trillions into it. They promised us safer streets, a world free from addiction, and victory. But look around you. What do you truly see? This war was never really about drugs, it was always about people. It began with fear and prejudice, targeting those who were different. Politicians saw an enemy they could clearly define, distracting from other problems. They spoke of moral decay and societal collapse. The truth was far more complicated, a story of human pain and disconnection. Laws became harsher, police forces more militarized, and prisons overflowed. The battle lines were drawn through our communities and across the globe. After all these years, all this money, all this suffering, what is the final verdict? Have we made our societies more divided, more fearful, less trusting? The story of this war starts a long time ago, stretching back more than 100 years. Early drug laws didn't target all substances or people equally. Opium bans targeted Chinese immigrants, cocaine scares demonized Black Americans. Fear and racism laid the groundwork for everything that was to come. Then came Harry Anslinger, America's first drug czar. He turned marijuana into a terrifying national threat with wild stories of reefer madness. His relentless crusade shaped drug policy for generations. The official declaration of war came in 1971, when President Nixon declared drug abuse public enemy number one. This was the pivotal moment when the war on drugs truly began. Money flooded into law enforcement, creating new, powerful agencies focused on punishment. Arrests and long prison sentences became the norm, while treatment was an afterthought. Nixon's strong words echoed globally, leading other nations to follow America's punitive lead. International treaties solidified this harsh approach worldwide. The goal was a drug-free world, but this was always a dangerous fantasy. The human desire for altered states of consciousness is ancient, perhaps innate. The belief that we could stamp it out by force was profoundly naive. Yet, the vast war machine had been built and constantly needed to be fed. The focus was unmistakably clear. Punishment, arrests, long prison sentences, treatment was merely an afterthought. How does a modern government wage this kind of internal war? With a brutal arsenal of tactics. Police conduct sudden, often terrifying raids, making countless arrests. They patrol our streets like an occupying force, disrupting the illicit drug trade. Mandatory minimum sentencing became a favored weapon, causing prison populations to explode, often locking away low-level dealers and addicts. Another major front is the nation's border, with government spending fortunes on interdiction efforts. Coast Guard cutters, border patrols, and customs agents use advanced technology to stop drugs from entering the country. Yet the flow continues, traffickers adapting quickly. It's an endless, costly game of cat and mouse. This war extends internationally, with the US funding aggressive crop eradication programs in countries like Colombia and Afghanistan. Billions have been spent spraying fields with toxic chemicals, supporting foreign military operations. But this often just pushes drug cultivation to new areas, harming local economies and farmers. The core problem of demand rarely disappears, it just relocates or changes form. The logic seems straightforward. If you catch enough people, the problem will simply vanish. But does it ever? The human desire for altered states of consciousness is ancient, perhaps innate. The belief that we could stamp it out by force was profoundly naive, yet the vast war machine had been built and constantly needed to be fed. Has this long war brought us any closer to victory? The government points to large drug seizures and the capture of major drug lords as proof of success. These events make for compelling headlines, creating a comforting image of progress. But these are just isolated battles, not the war itself. The war itself seems endless, unwinnable. Drug use has not been eradicated, it has shifted to newer, more dangerous forms like fentanyl. Overdose deaths have reached epidemic levels and addiction continues to shatter lives. Despite decades of effort, illicit drugs remain widely available. The supply chains are resilient, run by sophisticated organizations. Now think about the immense human cost. Millions, disproportionately people of color and the poor, have been incarcerated, their lives derailed by a criminal record for a drug offense. Finding a job and securing housing becomes nearly impossible. The stigma follows them for life. We have turned a public health issue into a massive criminal justice crisis. But there are other ways. Look at Portugal, which decriminalized personal possession of all drugs in 2001. They shifted focus from punishment to public health, funding treatment centers. Overdose deaths fell, HIV infections plummeted, and more people sought help. It's not a perfect utopia, but it shows a path away from pure punishment. The future requires us to be brave, to confront the failures of the past, and to choose connection over condemnation. For more than 50 years, the war on drugs has defined our approach. It has cost trillions, destroyed communities, and filled prisons. Yet, illicit drugs are often cheaper, stronger, and more available than ever. We must ask, is this strategy working? Is it making us safer or healthier? The answer is a resounding no. It is time for a profound change. Imagine treating addiction as a health condition, not a crime. Imagine resources flowing into clinics, counselors, and community support. This isn't a utopian dream, it's a practical, evidence-based alternative. Some places are already lighting the way forward. Portugal showed that decriminalization and health interventions can work. Switzerland's heroin-assisted treatment saved lives and reduced crime. Harm reduction strategies like clean needles and safe consumption sites are vital. They acknowledge the reality of drug use and work to keep people alive. The future requires us to be brave, to listen to scientific evidence and the voices of those affected. It is time to declare a truce, build peace, and offer help, not handcuffs.